Student, this lecture is about the another type of pollution is called the radioactive pollution. It is due to the exposure of radiations by human and environment and the effect of these radiations to our environment. You know, in current scenario, the world is facing a great danger and threat because of the development of nuclear weapons and the nuclear reactors. Uh, if they would not be nuclear reactors, they will not be managed in controlled way. The radiation may leak out from them, and they would have adverse effect on the environment, like Chernobyl accident, nuclear reactor accident, and practically also in case of nuclear war, we know about हिरोशिमा एंड नागासाकी जो उस पे हुआ. तो जब से ये न्यूक्लियर टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलप हुई है, ऑल्दो इट हैज एडवांटेजेस and disadvantages, we can use it for useful means, but the world is in a continuous threat due to the exposure of radiations if they would not be managed properly. Now, student, we are living in an era where we are continuously exposed to radiations. Even naturally, we are exposed to radiations of very low frequency of some certain extent. They are called the background radiations. Mobile phone signals हैं, poles हैं. We are exposed to radiations of different types. But let's define what is the radioactive pollution. So, as we know, the living organisms, they are continuously exposed to a variety of radiations called the background radiations. It depends on their level. If the level of the radioactive radiations increases above a certain limit, that it can cause harmful effects to the living beings, then this harmful level of radiations emitted by the radioactive elements is called the radioactive pollution. So it depends on the level of the release of the radioactive radiations. So, so if they would increase to a certain level, that can affect the humans and other living beings, then we can call it radioactive pollution. Radioactive pollution, it can be divided into two main sources: the natural sources and the man-made anthropogenic sources of radioactive pollution. इस स्लाइड में स्टूडेंट्स हम कुछ एग्जांपल्स देखते हैं नेचुरल सोर्सेज के रेडिएशंस की. Among them, the atomic radioactive minerals. There are radioactive minerals that are present naturally and during the mining process. For example, the radium 226 having half-life about 1602 years. It has been widely distributed into the sediments, rocks, and soils. It's an example of natural source of radiation. And then cosmic rays is another example of natural source of radiation. These radiations, the cosmic rays, they are highly powerful, highly energetic, and shorter wavelength electromagnetic kind of radiations, and they actually originate from stars in our galaxy, and this is because of the nuclear reactions that took place in the stars. Even the nuclear reaction, the sun, it has a lot of nuclear reactions in it. So the stars, they have nuclear reactions takes place, and as a result of that, these radiations, cosmic rays, they come out, and these rays, they are constantly reaching to the earth from the outer space. इसी तरह से radon 222 की बात हुई, found in the soil in small quantities in another source of radioactive. It's an example of another source of radioactive radiations. और इसी तरह से दूसरी जो नेचुरल सोर्सेज हैं रेडियोएक्टिव रेडिएशंस के एग्जांपल्स हैं यूरेनियम, थोरियम, रेडियम, पोटेशियम 40, कार्बन C40. They are present commonly in a lithosphere. जो रेडिएशंस होती हैं बहुत सी जो नेचुरल सोर्सेज से निकलती हैं, दे बहुत स्मॉल लेवल होता है उनका. दे हैव वेरी लो लेवल इंटेंसिटी, सो दे डोंट हैव मच हार्मफुल इफेक्ट. तो ऐसी रेडिएशंस को वी सेज background radiations. So usually the background radiations, they are of very low intensity, small level of radioactive radiations होती हैं, जिसकी वजह से ये हार्म इतनी हार्मफुल नहीं होती, दे रेयरली हार्मफुल बिकॉज ऑफ देयर लेवल बीइंग जनरेटेड. सो ऐसे रेडिएशंस को हम कहते हैं बैकग्राउंड रेडिएशन. In this slide, there are some examples of anthropogenic sources of radiations that being released due to the human activity. Among them is the X-rays. They are being used in general radiology and in CT scans. And then the gamma rays, they are used in treatment of cancer. So these are examples of anthropogenic sources of radiation. So another example of the anthropogenic source of radiation is the nuclear reactors. So even the nuclear reactors were among the sophisticated reactors in the world जो कि highly controlled way में operate कर रहे हैं. So there would be chances that some of the radiations they may leak from them. Even they are having best designs, proper handling and techniques they're being used. So if these radiations, when they some of these radiations they would release, routinely release into the environment, they can contaminate our air and waters. So इस स्लाइड में एक और जो quite unfortunate and radioactive source जो anthropogenic है, that is the nuclear test. जब से ये न्यूक्लियर टेक्नोलॉजी को यूज किया जा रहा है एज ए डेटरेंट for preventing wars or these kind of things. But this is kind of a technology कि इसको obviously test they have been not been stopped. Even there are many treaties. ठीक है, उसके अलावा भी the countries, some of them they used to violate the treaties. North Korea के example है, they used to had nuclear testing past, and many even developed countries or so-called world leaders, they also time to time secretly or openly they do nuclear tests. और इसमें हिस्ट्री है बहुत से न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट की, एंड दीज न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट दे आर एक्चुअली डिस्ट्रॉइंग आवर एनवायरनमेंट. जो न्यूक्लियर रेडिएशन उनसे इमिट होती है, इवन द कंट्रोल्ड वे, और न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट बहुत से टाइप्स के किए गए हैं ऑन द डेजर्ट्स में, इन द अंडर द सी एंड इन द माउंटेन्स, इन द so ये nuclear test है. Due to these tests, highly short wavelength radiations they have been released, and we know the radioactive materials they have very long half life. उनकी half life जो है बहुत से सालों तक होती है. ठीक है. So once the nuclear test been done, even very controlled nuclear test, so it would have effect on environment. Here we have given some examples. India ने एक nuclear test किया था exploded that was equivalent to about 12 kilotons of ट्राईनाइट्रोटोलीन TNT जो एक एक्सप्लोसिव है, उसके 12 kilotons है. इंडिया ने ये किया था इन अंडरग्राउंड फैसिलिटी इन 1974 में किया था इंडिया ने ये टेस्ट. Again in May 1998, India conducted a nuclear test without any fall of radiations into the surroundings, which is being presumed. But any nuclear test जिसमें किया जाए, तो they could have effect to our environment. So our environment is not just limited to our external environment. Environment, you know the definition, anything that surrounds us. So whether it could be deep into the earth, we have our environment involves all the things that surrounds us. So these nuclear tests, they are, in my point of view, they don't have any useful effect on humans, but they are made for the human destruction. Students, nuclear war and the environment. If in future that would likely be possible under current scenario, and the many countries in the world they would have nowadays nuclear weapons for their deterrence. For example, China, India, Pakistan, America, USA, America, Israel, and many other countries. They had some had declared and some are not declared nuclear powers. Don't forget the North Korea as well. So all these countries, many countries, they have nuclear weapons and they are flexing their muscles time to time. Threats they give used to give threats to one another. So we are actually living in a world in which we are in continuous threat of a anthropogenic kind of a nuclear pollution. So even small nuclear exchange अगर हो for example between India and Pakistan could be quite unfortunate. People used to say कि we have these weapons. आपने देखा होगा इंडिया में कहते हैं लोग and even in the Pakistan में we have this, but they don't realize कि what actually the nuclear war would have effect on environment and our planet, because they're not literate enough that they should know actually what it can do. Even the nuclear war, even between India and Pakistan, a small nuclear exchange, it can affect most of the population in the world. It's not nuclear weapon is not nuclear kind of pollution restricted to one country, because the nuclear explosion जो है इस रिजल्ट में contaminate our airs. और अगर इस तरह से हो तो क्या होगा, the air it can the particles they can move to the air, these radiations, and there could be uh, smoke that might spread throughout slowly throughout the world. और उससे क्या होगा, बहुत सी फसलें नुकसान हो सकता है, और इसके अलावा कहत हो सकता है, there could be तो ये न्यूक्लियर जो वॉर है एक ही मुल्कों में अगर दो में हो तो वो रिस्ट्रिक्ट नहीं रहती, इट कैन अफेक्ट द होल वर्ल्ड. सो it's quite unfortunate that we humans these days, although we have a quite a gift, the planet Earth, कि जहाँ के I don't think so. There's a quite oblique chances that we would find a world like planet Earth in our universe, because the universe is continuously expanding, and the chances of finding a world, they are decreasing with the passage of time, because it's in the expanding continuously. So the stars which were near to us many years ago, they are moving away actually from the universe is actually expanding. तो हमने इतना अच्छा अपने इस planet को we may destroy. So with respect to the environment point of view, uh, this kind of a source, because we have these nuclear weapons, so they could generate huge amount of radiations that within no time can kill uh, millions and millions of people that are present on this planet Earth.